That's meme-tastic.
That's meme-tastic.
Yo, got you. Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
banter. Balls and banter. No excuses, just win, win, win with your balls and banter. We got balls, we got pucks, we got sticks, we got everything in between. We got balls and banter.
Sweet Tech Gremlins, they are all over the place today in the studio. We're so sorry for being late. If you're listening in the podcast, the audio version, you're like, what happened? Like, I didn't hear anything, because we fixed it for you and in post-production. But for all of you folks hanging out with us live, including Tom and Nate, who are like, what the hell's going on? It is good to be with you on this Thursday, boys. How are we doing?
Doing great. Doing great.
Looking good in your shot. Cornrows and all. I love it.
You know what? It wasn't the Tech Gremlins. It was the aliens that were supposed to kidnap the Brazilian team last night that were wreaking havoc in the studio.
Oh, yes. Okay. Good to know.
Did you watch the game?
I did not get to watch the game last night. Can we turn Tom down a smidge? I did not. Tell me about it.
Well, Scotland was just totally outmatched. I mean, Brazil, people come out of the womb playing soccer there. They actually play soccer in the womb. I don't think people really realize that yet. And so this whole social media campaign that started with this woman from Brazil saying that there's going to be an alien spacecraft that was going to descend upon the stadium in Miami and take away some of the Brazilian soccer players. And that, of course, that didn't transpire, much to my chagrin, because I watched the entire game waiting for it, and it never happened.
Tom didn't go to the bathroom like the whole time. Like,
yes, I sat in front of the TV and wore a diaper. But this whole hydration break, I'm
gay.
Well, not only that, but the thing that I find most intriguing by it is they say science supports this. And as we know from what has happened in the past, you can always get science to say anything, and that legitimizes it somehow so people buy into it. They've been playing soccer without a hydration break for hundreds and hundreds of years. And now all of a sudden, just be honest. It has nothing to do with the health and well-being of the athletes. It has to do with the fact that you could sell advertising time.
100%.
That's it.
That's totally what it is. Yep. Yeah, I hate it. It reminds me of this one's commercial, so there's greed behind it, which is even worse. But like and look, I kind of get it the first couple weeks of summer here, but like Florida for high school football, every quarter, halfway through the quarter, 4 quarters in football, right? Timeout. Water break, officials timeout, water break. It's like these guys are hydrated. There's water everywhere, all over the sideline. We got this. Like, we don't need it. Like, we don't need to sit out in the heat and the bugs any longer. Just let's carry on with the game. I hate them. But that's totally right, Tom. You're absolutely spot on. It is 100% money. Speaking of soccer, we play tonight, 10 p.m. Thanks a lot, douchebags. Turkey, U.S., 10 p.m. We'll get to see half of it and then fall asleep. But we're already going on. So this is kind of how it looks now. We're going to play Bosnia-Herzegovina in the round of 32, regardless of the outcome tonight. That's how it looks. Pretty much a lock that it's going to stay that way. Seen some great pictures of the female fans from Bosnia-Herzegovina. So hopefully, I don't know, like you can't finish in a draw in these games, but we hate to see those ladies go. But that's going to happen there. And then if they win, they move on and likely playing Egypt in that next game. How we feel about tonight? You guys going to stay up? You're going to get together and do like a Toledo powwow?
Yeah, I'm going to check out the game. I always like it when the U.S. plays in any sport, when the national team is out on the field. I refuse to say the word pitch. I am not going to, and I refuse to say the word nil either, even though I just said them in a complete thought there. But yes, I like it when the United States plays in any kind of athletic competition, and especially in the World Cup. This year, this go around of the World Cup, it seems like the U.S. team that has been fielded has been a lot more competitive in the past, and it's just I'm just happy to be at a point in sports where it's like there's no outside forces there seeming to that you're getting inundated with saying, oh, what are you, some kind of, xenophobe and all this other, horse hockey that we had to listen to for the past 10 years about having an interest in your national team playing an event on the world stage.
I'm glad you got that off your chest.
Thank you.
Yeah. I refuse to say those words either. I do not like the words associated with soccer. I appreciate the World Cup. I appreciate the international stage. We do have a good team, but I'll also say this. Just remember, folks, I'm not trying to piss in your Cheerios here. But our group, Paraguay, Turkey tonight, Australia, we haven't played Argentina or France or Spain or Norway. We haven't played some of those teams. Some of the teams that get beyond the group of 16, pretty scary. I'm not saying we can't beat them. That's the sobering reminder. Because I've had some of those moments. We got this. This could be the year. And it's there's some pretty damn good teams out there hanging in the balance. We'll see. We'll be cheering. We'll be cheering for America tonight.
Always.
You be watching?
Of course. I'm gonna try to.
Okay. Everyone's going to make their best hidey-ho effort.
Right. 10 o'clock's rough.
I'm gonna disagree. I'm gonna say Bosnia for the upset. They've been waiting for this moment since the Clinton administration.
I like it. I'm glad that we finished that on that line right there. That's perfect. And you never know. It could happen. Okay. So we've talked about this. We knew this was likely coming. The NCAA has officially adopted the new rule based on eligibility, the whole 5 years to play 5 season things. So now it starts there's a couple triggers. You can see it on the screen there. Their first full-time enrollment or the academic year following their 19th birthday is when the clock happens, whichever starts first. And then that move basically, as you can see also on the screen, all but eliminates waivers or redshirt years for extended eligibility, except for religious missions, pregnancy, or active duty military service. If we have pregnancy in college football, I know it's all sports, but if we have pregnancy in college football or basketball, we've got a whole different issue. And it seemed like for a while that we were getting closer to something like that, but now we're kind of on the right track. So this new 5-year thing starts. Gone are the days, allegedly. The NCAA also can't enforce any rules, and they lose in court every damn time, outside of the Sorsby case and a couple other outliers. But gone are the days where you're going to be an 8th-year senior tight end. That appears to be sunsetting, which on that side of the rule, that part of it, I'm good with. Because it's bro, you're a 7th-year quarterback. You've played at 6 schools. It's probably time to just move on. That insurance job is starting to look good. Medical sales, you can do well. You can meet some cute women at the different conferences and retreats in Vegas and wherever. Maybe you find your forever person. I don't know. But playing forever at college football, as much as the money's good now and it's fun to have the fame and the notoriety and to get run out of the tunnel on Saturday, I like that part of it. What say you guys? Nate, what do you say?
Yeah, when I was in college, I didn't want it to end either. It was a lot of fun. But by about the last 6 months, I was like, okay, I'm ready to get out of here. So I don't know how these dudes are at 26 years old. Man, I just want to keep being told what to do all the time.
Yeah.
So great. And if you're getting NIL money, sure, that'd be great. But I don't think these particular players are necessarily.
Yeah, at least not the big bucks, the big bags.
So, and you're not getting drafted, so you might as well avoid the damage on your body, accept the inevitable. Maybe they never did the degree part of the whole going to college thing, and they're like, "Oh crap, I should work on that now and try and get it while I still can before I get kicked out of here." But it's too late.
Yeah.
Move on.
So does this rule kill that when the monsters from the other countries come over and play punter or kicker on one of the SEC teams? You remember? I don't remember. It was a couple years ago. This 6'4" Australian guy was the
Miami.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. They still can come and play. They just have 5 years to.
Yeah.
It really just has to do with eligible. There's a couple other things in the same decision-making season or chapter, if you will. So there's the 5-year deal. Once you start, it's not like you're a redshirt freshman. What's going to be interesting to see is how they categorize or classify someone, because it used to be redshirt freshman or freshman, redshirt freshman, and then you went on to the point where you finish as a senior. Now it's like, okay, you play the full 5 years. Are you a freshman, a sophomore, junior, senior, and then in theory you should be done by then, a graduate player, I guess. I don't know. We'll see. But the other thing they're doing is starting in 2027, not this coming season. Obviously, the next spring football season is next spring, 2027. There's going to be 21 on-field practices for spring ball, which is a lift by 6. It's currently 15 practices. So they get 21 before their spring game, and then it's going to be reduced in training camp from 25 to 21. So you get 21 days in the spring, 21 days for fall camp leading into week 0 or week 1, whenever your first game is. And those are some other rules. So some interesting things happening. Again, I don't necessarily hate all of it. I just don't know if the NCAA – And I think when it comes to this stuff, they can. But I just, like, how much can they actually enforce all of this stuff? Because they keep getting curb stomped into oblivion in court. Like, we know you say I can only play 5 years, but I'm still shooting for 6 or 7, and I'm going to a court with a judge who graduated from my school. This is his alma mater. He wants to win. I don't know. Like, we'll see how that all shakes out.
Well, if I'm an agent, I can tell you right now, as soon as I read that on social media, I would be on the phone with my attorney going, get on it. Start drafting the next lawsuit, because there's a lot of money to be made from the agent perspective of keeping people in school and getting that NIL money from them. If they get out in 5 years, you're losing that, cash revenue, the cash flow that you have.
Right.
So I'm sure this is going to be challenged. It'll be interesting to see what happens, once it starts going into court. I do have a question, though, when it comes to a religious deferment, like with the Mormons, when you go on your mission, is there any provisions for that?
It sounds like, because that was listed in one of the things, religious.
Right.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how that part of it is going to be exploited, and saying, well, you did it for the Mormons. Notre Dame's like, well, the Catholics, we've got a mission we got to go on.
Right. That or BYU goes on a terror of a run here and become like the next dynasty. Like, you can play here for a bunch of years. You got to go to Cambodia in between, but like, you're going to be here and we're going to win some championships. Yeah, I think that'll be interesting. There's already some lawsuits. There's already, I think, 5, if I remember from digging into it this morning, for players who are currently on campus. Like, well, when does this clock start? Like, how are you changing things for us? I don't know. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting for sure. Lots of changes coming. Speaking of a change, you brought up Brazil and space landings earlier. Those things didn't happen. Neither will the game between NC State and Virginia, which was set for week 0 in Rio de Janeiro. That is now scrapped and is going to be played in Charlottesville on the campus of the University of Virginia. So that game will still be a week 0 deal. You can see the Wolfpack put out their announcement, everyone announcing it's a firm deal. Originally, this was going to be a non-ACC game, and it was going to not count. It was going to be a home and home for 2 years, not count in ACC standings, because they already had their 8 scheduled ACC games. But now that the ACC is going to 9 games, now this game does count, week 0. Pretty great week 0 game. I'm actually looking forward to that game, starting off on a home campus. I'd much rather it be played in either NC State or Virginia than in freaking Rio de Janeiro, who, no disrespect, particularly to the good-looking women down there, like, you guys don't love college football like we do. Like this, send the NFL over there if you're going to do it. Don't send our college games overseas. I hate that.
Dude, I would be so disappointed if I was a player on either of those teams to go from Rio to Charlottesville. I mean, come on, the Copacabana, all the caipirinhas, all the nice women walking around, the Portuguese. And you're right, Brazil doesn't care about. They only have one football there, and soccer is their, that's their lifeblood there. But I will say this for the people of Brazil: no matter if it is college football, they love a party. And if you're going to throw one by having college teams down there, they're going to come out of the woodwork. You would be seeing so many, just like all that shiny Brazilian hair and the big boobs and the thongs and the, taking selfies and even, then the trannies would come up to the next level where, these college kids would be like, holy smokes, this girl likes me. Dude, I think that's a dude. No, man, she really likes me. And then,
Yeah.
Oh, well, whatever.
I never thought of Brazil as being as big of a deal as that, as like Thailand or some of those other places. Is that a big thing down there?
What, trans?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, dude. The times that I've spent in Rio, just going to bars, it's like usually in some countries you go, certain bars are known for, having like being a trans bar or a gay bar or whatever. Brazil is just a free-for-all, man. No matter where you go, there's a party going on somewhere, and it's just like, you're walking into Caligula's waiting room, wherever it is.
Yeah, not great. Would you rather be shocked by a Thai trans or a Brazilian trans?
What? Probably Brazilian, because I didn't know that was a big thing over there. I thought it was just a Thai thing.
Well, apparently it's everywhere. We're getting into it around here too.
I would have to default to the country that has more circumcisions.
Okay, that's a good way to segment that off in your spreadsheet. Can we add a column on the Excel sheet for circumcised or not? Yes, or just make it a yes or no column. That's awesome. Okay, from whatever that conversation was to the NCAA is approved North Dakota State and Sacramento State both to be eligible. You can read it there on the screen. I'll just read what you guys are seeing. The NCAA has voted to eliminate the FCS to FBS transition penalty, allowing North Dakota State and Sac State to be eligible to play in a bowl game immediately. Major win for college football, says College Football Kings. They also can compete, in the case of North Dakota State, well, I guess both of them in their own respective, but like North Dakota State can compete for a Mountain West championship this year. I like it. Look, if you're going to approve, go through the process. It used to be 2 years. Go through the process of allowing North Dakota State to come up, especially when you've got a situation like Mountain West, who decided with the Pac-2 before, hey, let's take one former Power 4 conference and one Group of 5 conference that was pretty good, and let's make two shitty Group of 5 conferences. Like, you need some other talent in there. North Dakota State loves their football. It's an outstanding football program. Have they been on the FBS level? No, but they've been dominating the piss out of the FCS level. That's what they've got. Like in North Dakota, you've got flatland, you've got football at North Dakota State, and you've got hockey. And like they love that there. So they're bringing it in. I think it's great. Like, if you're going to let them in, let them compete. And I think it's a good decision, but I'm open to a different interpretation. Shall somebody have it?
No, I'm on board. Like, why wait? What's the point? Everything was approved. It's not like when it used to be when a player was like transferring schools where they made them wait. So it wasn't just like jump around to the best team and like kind of had to plan your move a little bit. It's just, they're good to go. Put them in. They're not cheating. You can do anything anymore. So
right.
Right. And if they get a shot to go all the way, I mean, why would you not want to see that happen?
Yeah. Well, and neither of that's the thing too. Like, neither of these teams are threatening like the college football playoff.
Right.
Like, Michigan, Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, like, they're not like, son of a bitch, we got to look out for the Bison. But the Mountain West Conference probably is like, well, this will be interesting. Like, we didn't think we had to worry too much about them this year. Now we do. I don't know. Sacramento State, which I still think is just such a fascinating thing. After I transferred for a little bit from Michigan, went to Northern Arizona, went just as bad as the whole thing did in Ann Arbor. But Sac State was in the Big Sky, which is a great 1AA FCS conference. It was the weirdest thing to me when I heard they're moving up, and then they're dumping all this money in it. Like, you hear Montana's jumping up, Montana State, both absolute powers, something like that. It would have made more sense to me, but then it was like Sac State's going up. It's like, what? Like is Weber State or Portland State going next? Like, are we just going to take a bunch of obscure 1AA schools? I don't know. We'll see. Good for both of them, though. I'm happy for them. I think they should be able to compete, and they will be. I'm also happy for these three guys. The draft was Tuesday night. We talked about it. We all knew this was not some great prognostication on my part. It was known that it was going to happen. But Michigan had 3 go in the draft. Picks 9, 11, and 12. Started with Morez Johnson, who went to Dallas to play under Dusty May, who had his opening press conference like 6 hours before the draft. Screw you, Mavericks. But they took him, and then Yaxel Lindenborg went 11th to Golden State. And then you had Mara go to Oklahoma City, which is kind of scary, adding another piece like Ade Mara in Oklahoma City. But impressive for Michigan. They had a couple other guys sign. A couple other schools, I think, had 2 go. But a fun night, and I found myself sitting there watching, partly because of the boys in maize and blue going, and then partly just because everything's changing, and apparently I'm into spring sports now, and I'm not as decimated and depressed as I usually am in the spring, which is a good thing. But I'm sitting there watching the NBA draft. My wife's like, you're watching it this year? I'm like, yeah, I am. Even my daughter heard the like the little draft pick noise. She's like, "What? Whose draft's on?" I'm like, "You're a good kid. You're a good kid. You recognize that someone's getting drafted right now." But I had a good time watching it, and I do. I mean, I think Lindenborg going to Golden State, getting paired with some of the people they got there, kind of scary. I think Mara going where he's going, interesting. Morez Johnson will be a good tool with Cooper Flagg and what they've got going, depending on what happens with Kyrie. But I thought that they all landed in good spots.
Yeah, it was a great draft. This one it was kind of lined up where, in a lot of drafts in any sport, sometimes the talent's weak, sometimes it's top heavy, and you kind of know where everyone's going. And this kind of had a little bit of it all. It's very deep with talent. The first 4 picks were kind of known, and after that, it was kind of a toss-up, but everything started filling in. The Michigan players, it was rumored he wasn't going to have any say on the Mavericks with these draft picks, but it's kind of hard to believe when they took one of his. And Lindenberg, I'd been seeing that Lindenberg and Mara were kind of projected to go in that spot. Some people had Mara going as high as like 6.
Yeah.
Which I didn't think was going to happen. It didn't happen. So for them to, I didn't see any mocks at all that had Morez Johnson going before it, those 2.
No, exactly.
So it's,
I think you're right. Like, I think he had his way, like, here's the piece we need. I can tell you he's him, because I was shocked that he was the first of those 3 off the board.
Right. And you almost wonder if they told him, like, yeah, we're going to take Yaxel. And he's like, no, actually, here's why you should take Morez. I don't know. Mara is kind of like an old school NBA center. Like, he's just an ogre down low. And today's NBA, that doesn't go for it. He's kind of Zach Edey 2.0, except maybe not quite as big. And so I didn't see him going that high. But I did think Oklahoma could be a good landing spot for him, just because they already have some, they already got Chet.
Yep.
It makes you wonder if they're doing this strictly to have another 7-footer out on the floor when they face the Spurs.
Maybe.
Because they got Hartenstein too, but now you got 3.
Right.
It kind of feels like it. I thought Yaxel would go higher, possibly. I guess his off the court issues kind of, I don't know. Apparently he didn't do good in the interview process, but he seems like a very high ceiling caliber guy. I thought he could go as high as 5.
Right.
And then Golden State, I knew if he was there, he was going to go to them, because he's also a win now guy. He's a guy who can help you win right now.
Absolutely. He's plug and play. Drop him in. Yeah.
Exactly. So I knew they'd take him. Maybe a chance they take Mara, just because you can always plug a 7-foot guy in and be ready to go. But clearly Lindenberg was the higher ceiling and could end up being the best player in the draft. Who knows?
He's definitely one of them. Boozer goes 3rd to Memphis. They had a good draft. Have done some interesting things in the offseason. Who was the Pacers ended up trading with the Bulls, right? And they ended up getting Braden Smith. Was that how it shook out?
That was 2nd round. I have not recapped that. I saw the Bulls took him, but that could have been a swap there. But
then I think they swapped it, or maybe it was the other way around. I thought I saw that headline. Interesting to see how he pans out at the next level. Obviously, he was a fun player to watch at the collegiate level. Darius A. Cuff Jr., that dude out of Arkansas, he goes top 10. He was a great freaking player, had a hell of a year. He was fun to watch.
Yeah. He was, I believe, the first SEC player to lead the SEC in both points and assists since Pistol Pete in 69-70. And Pistol Pete averaged almost 45 points a game that year. That's
crazy.
Still a side stat, nuts. But yeah, A-Cup, yeah, the Kings wanted him, and it was kind of rumored he was. I think he might have canceled workouts with other teams. I don't know why he'd want to go there, but they wanted him. I guess the knock on him is kind of he's like not only bad on defense, but a straight-up liability. And I'm not sure about his three-point shooting. Might be a little low, too. And that's kind of why he slipped to 7, but very high ceiling there, too.
All right, Minnesota Timberwolves fan coming out of me here. We swapped the 28 for the 33rd, early second-round pick with Brooklyn when we sent Julius Randle that way, which we'll get into that actually in a little bit, indirectly in a bit here. But we end up getting Isaiah Evans, the guard out of Duke, who is interesting, but I want to get your take, Nate. And Tom, too, you're a UNC guy, who cares greatly about the Duke UNC game. So you've seen this guy. You see him twice a year. What do you think? This is a guy who's got a high ceiling. Could be great. Could be a steal there, or I don't know. What's your thoughts?
Go ahead, Tom. Take it away.
My thoughts on the draft, or on the particular pick, or the draft in general?
On Isaiah Evans from Duke going to the T-Wolves at 33.
I think it's a pretty good draft for the T-Wolves. He's one of those Duke players that that you always have to, being a UNC fan, you'd always be wary about and thinking, oh boy, here we go again. He is this going to be the one that douses my dreams of the Tar Heels taking it to Duke? So I think it's a good draft for the T-Wolves.
Good deep shooter. He literally. I'm looking at this again now. He averaged 7 threes per game this year. That's not bad from the perimeter. Now Minnesota's got some great shooters. We'll talk about that here in a second. Actually, we'll talk about it right now. Because the news today, so last night and then even this morning, I'm seeing, as I'm two hats on. I'm preparing for the show, and I'm also looking at things as a Minnesota Timberwolves fan. And we hear that starting with the draft, leading up to the draft, and then into this morning, the Charlotte Hornets were not necessarily seeking a trade partner for LaMelo Ball, but that they were listening. And then you heard, okay, well, the T-Wolves and the Raptors are hot and heavy on that. They're like, well, we'll talk about it, and we're going to send you some stuff. And then all of a sudden, so I was planning on talking on the show today about how it looks like the T-Wolves and the Raptors are interested in LaMelo Ball. Well, no, they are. And LaMelo Ball is a Minnesota Timberwolf now. A huge trade, blockbuster trade happens. So, yeah, this was this morning. Yeah, they just skipped that one. Skipped that one. Then the news dropped. And now you can see a mocked-up picture of Ball and all of his tattoos in a T-Wolves uniform. And, man, did they send – so listen to this. So LaMelo Ball and Josh Green go from Charlotte to Minnesota. The T-Wolves lose Naz Reid in the deal, which I hate. I do not like that part. Naz Reid, a stud, a big part of the Timberwolves. Everyone loves him in the Twin Cities. Everyone who loves the Timberwolves loves him everywhere. Then it's a 2033 unprotected first-round pick, 3 first-round pick swaps in 2028, 2029, and 2030, and then 3 second-round picks, 2029, 2032, and 2033. Lots going on here, but it's an interesting deal, and I don't know how I feel about this, right? Because I'm going to give it some legs because I want the T-Wolves to win. It's so hard in the West. They've got so many pieces. They just sent one and Naz Reid packing, but they brought in another one. LaMelo Ball, he's injury prone. Shouldn't be behind the wheel of a car, maybe ever. We got lots of athletes in that camp these days. But he does ball out. He's one of 3 players to average 20-plus points per game in each of the last 5 seasons. He's in the company of Luka Doncic and the Joker. That's a pretty impressive stat. Even given some of his injury stuff, I don't know. Again, I hate Naz Reid going. Nate, you're our biggest NBA guy here. What do you think of this deal? Tell me what I need to be thinking and feeling right now. Go.
There's a lot to look at, a lot of angles. LaMelo, like you said, he's injury prone. I think this is a good trade for him, though, because it's going to take some of the pressure off of him to put up points because he still shoots at too low of a clip. He's very streaky and can be a great 3-point shooter, but like he got better, and that was part of the reason the Hornets took off starting in January. And if he could keep that up, that's, a start. He's still got to get better, and he still turns the ball over too much. He still kind of just plays too loose. And I think Minnesota, we'll see, if he can develop and be a real solid guard and, tighten everything up. And with Edwards there, I don't think there's going to be as much pressure as him to make the points and have to take all those shots. So if he can be more selective in his shot taking and then just protect the ball a little more, play just tighter, just not so loose. That Charlotte team, they're run and gun. They're all over the place, which is great, but you're probably not going to win a championship playing that loose. So it's interesting. Minnesota, you got to get another big man now.
I know.
All you got is aging Rudy Gobert, which he took a huge step back last year.
Yeah.
And it's tough to believe he's going to take a huge step forward after getting older another year.
Yeah.
So
I wish we would have dealt him and kept Nas because ideally keep both, but you're right. Last year watching Rudy Gobert, it's like, oh dude, like you look like an old man, like you're falling down in the court and it takes you 30 seconds to get up.
Right. And Nas Reed is just he's a glue guy. Every winning team has a guy like Nas Reed, or Drew Holiday is probably the best example in the NBA that, just the glue guy. And yeah, you're going to miss that. You're going to miss Nas's outside shooting for a big man.
Right.
It's kind of a lot. And I think, isn't LaMelo on an expiring contract, if not this year, 2 years?
I don't remember. I don't remember what I saw there. I've also heard the T-Wolves might not be done. They still are saying they have interest in Jaylen Brown. Obviously, they need to get a big man now. Like they're going. I will give them props. Like they're going after some change. But you've got rid of Randall. You've gotten rid of Nas Reed now. By the way, are you a Pistons fan? What's your?
I really don't keep up with.
I know you're not an NBA. I wasn't sure since you're a Red Wing guy if you're that. Well, you talk about we got to feel. So that was my one concern. It's like, okay. We signed Desanmu, or however the hell you say his name, to a big deal after the Randall trade.
Yeah.
You got Ant. You bring in Ball. Like our 1 through 3 spots are rock solid. Plus you imagine, you hope that Dante DiVincenzo comes back healthy. But let's put up the graphic. I think we've got the possible lineup as it stands now. Yeah. Let's put this up. There's a couple different versions. Some have Ant at 3 and Desunmo at 2 and vice versa. But you got LaMelo Ball, you got Ant, you got Desunmo, and then you got, in this scenario, Jaden McDaniels playing up to 4. He is 6'9". So you got Jaden McDaniels, who's an absolute stud, and the T-Wolves to the point where they're like, we're not trading him. I know a lot of people want him. We're not trading him. And then Rudy Gobert. So the vulnerabilities lie in depth at 4. Jaden's a stud. If he can play 4, great. He's a great athlete. I'm sure he can. He's got the height and he's a hell of a shooter. Like that's a weapon at the 4 spot. But the depth at 4 and 5 is where I'm concerned now. It's like you've got all these dudes in from point guard to small forward, and you've got depth there. What's going on beyond that? Like that's my only concern. Like cool. You got people who can score. You were saying it earlier. Pressure's off LaMelo now. The pressure's also off Ant now because you can't just be like, we're going to do everything we can to stop this joker from getting opportunities. Now you got to stop a lot of really good jokers, but you got to be deep in the paint, and that's where I see some vulnerabilities.
Yeah, well now too you let Ant play off the ball. He doesn't have to have the ball in his hand to create anymore with LaMelo. And maybe they're trying to take an angle of let's just be really small. We're never going to get a Chet Holmgren or Vet or Wemby and then back it up with another 1 or 2 7-footers. So let's just go with it and see if we can just play small, try and drag those big guys out of the lane, then get it to Ant, get down low or something. The real thing to look at, too, is that core is so young now. Mm-hmm. By having putting LaMelo and Io in there, except for Grandpa Rudy, that team's all it seems most of the time when you add a piece, you get some older dude coming in.
Right.
And, they added a very young player. And if they can go through and get Jaylen Brown, because they kept trading back in the draft, and everybody's like, what are you doing? and you traded Julius Randle, and they're saying, like, you know, if this is just a salary dump, everyone's going to turn on you guys because you're a contender. And then you just like, nah, we don't want to pay Randle. But it shows they're still making moves. And I think with LaMelo, they're already actually in the luxury tax. So it'll be interesting to see if they had Jaylen Brown, another mega contract, and really just go in the double tax maybe. And it's like, whoa, you guys.
Yeah, because he's got like 3 years left on his big-ass contract, which is massive. So that would be, yeah. But, I mean, again, like a lot of people saying, what are you doing? Like, they're adding some pieces. They are young and talented. Anthony Edwards went 1 the same year that LaMelo went 3rd. Like, I think Jaden was in that draft too. They've got a young, talented team. You start adding some depth in the big guy positions there. Like, okay, now you're like, all right, maybe you can compete in the West. Also, there's predictions that they might go to the East when expansion happens. And then, yeah, either way, watch out. I think that they've got some good things there, but there's a lot of the business side of things they got to deal with.
Yeah.
We could be talking a parallel to the 79 Lakers, where you having this old man surrounded by the youngsters and some of the vagabonds coming in.
The vagabonds. I like that word choice.
I don't know if you can put Rudy in that context. He's not really one you're building around. He's kind of hanging on to the.
Well, no, neither was Kareem.
Really?
Oh, I mean, he started his acting career around that time, right?
Who, Kareem?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the momentum started to build. It was, you know, somebody on the downside, a big guy on the downside of his career. And then, you know, you insert Magic and a couple of other players around him. And then all of a sudden, you know, Kareem has his role and he sets the table, or allows the table to be set for the Magic and everyone else to come in and, you know, drag him across the finish line.
Yeah, but again, you've got Magic and James Worthy and Kareem. Like, Rudy Gobert was never even on the same planet as Kareem. You know, even on the downside.
Right, no, I'm just talking about, you know, an older big guy.
Yeah, no, I get it. That makes sense. Well, we need some depth there. Like Rudy, I don't see how Rudy can stay healthy. He can't stay competitive. And I like Rudy. I think he's a good dude. I think he's a good player. There's got to be some stuff that happens in the days, weeks, months ahead to address how 4 and 5 look there, because it's you're close, but the way they've built the roster now with everyone in the 1 through 3 spots, it's like, okay, you're going to set up and be like, we were awesome. We were the 3rd best team without question in the West, and we came up short again and didn't make it to the NBA Finals. And it's going to be because we don't have anybody down low. Like you gotta have that piece. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean the glaring weakness this past season though is they didn't have anybody else to score really besides Ant.
Yeah.
And when he was out, it was just blatantly obvious. You had kind of all these big dudes who, like, you know, besides Julius Randle, it's like, who's gonna score?
Right.
So now they address that, but it's like same thing, at what cost? You know, that's always the old give and take.
It is. Gabe Io. I mean. Yeah,
Io's sick, man, and he's young. I wish the Bulls would have kept him because he's young enough that I feel like he could be a part of the rebuild they're going through. But
right,
kudos to him. He's on a contender now. He got a lot bigger too in the last year. So I think he's ascending still. So
100%.
It's a great sign. Great defender too.
Last story. Don't you get all these like. You know, we had Addison have his little run-in with a substance and driving. You have Tiger, who's had his substance issues with driving. You've got Georgia's football team, who should never drive anywhere. They've all been, I think everyone on the team's been arrested for some sort of driving violation now. I think I'm maybe exaggerating a little bit. And I like Georgia football, by the way. I like Kirby Smart. I'm all about it. But you need to put wheel locks on the kids' cars as they get there, or just say cars aren't allowed on campus and let them figure it out later. But my friend's got one who plays volleyball. Like, well, they're different. You're not allowed to drive. At any rate, those are like peas and carrots when it comes to offenses, as opposed to what Detroit Lions cornerback Terrion Arnold's been arrested for. So check this out. He's been arrested And also, by the way, there's been, beaten up, assault on girlfriends and wives. Not good. Don't do that. Terrible. If you're dealing with that, talk to somebody. But this guy, armed robbery and kidnapping in Tampa, Florida, faces multiple felony charges that carry a potential life sentence if convicted. I guess the other dude, his lawyer is saying, like, he did nothing wrong. We can't wait for our day in court to exonerate ourselves. The other guys are felons. They're just trying to, like, make him look bad because he was there and reduce their sentences or whatever. To me, guys, this is the perfect thing. We all were kids. We have parents. I have lots of kids myself. You choose who you hang out with, and you choose right because you're guilty by association. You're seen by other people, hanging out with them. And in this case, you potentially face life in prison. Do I think that's going to happen? No, probably not. But you wouldn't be in this situation at all if you weren't hanging around people who were going to do armed robbery and kidnapping, whether you were a ringleader or just there on the side. Terrible look, and couldn't happen to a better team than the Detroit Lions. Suck a dick, Lions. Love your coach, though. Dan Campbell, great guy. What do you guys think? Tom, I knew you'd be the first on this.
To me, this can go one of two ways. It can go the Lawrence Phillips way and the Sammy Smith way, where teams are going to be like, in society in general, is going to be like, okay, we're done with you. There's no future for you, and you're going to end up spending a lot of time in prison. Or it can go the way of Ray Lewis and Snoop Dogg, where it's like, okay, well, we've got a couple of people that can take the fall for this. We know that we recognize that you have a pretty bright future, and we don't want to diminish that future. And we need to adjudicate this somehow, and somebody's got to take the fall for it. So to me, it falls in either one of those camps. What does his projected future look like, as opposed to what he has done, and in how much of the crime can be stuck on him, and how much of it could the other peripheral people take for it and do the time while his career progresses.
Well, I can tell you he's not Ray Lewis. That much is true. Right.
Is he a Snoop Dogg? Is he going to have that kind of potential where, he's going to have a long career and might end up in the Hall of Fame? Or is he more of a Lawrence Phillips where,
who would have been in the Hall of Fame if he didn't get, if he didn't make, I was going to say if he didn't get tickets.
Yeah, Lawrence Phillips had all kinds of problems going all the way back to Nebraska.
Right.
And then eventually it was just like, all right, there's nothing we can do now.
Yeah. No, you're such a terrible person. Such an amazing, that dude was such a good athlete. It was ridiculous.
I mean, he was given so many breaks throughout his entire career, and then it finally came to, everyone washed their hands of it and said that there's nothing could be done with this guy. He's just too broken.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. I'm not saying Terrian doesn't have a good upside, that he's not good, but this isn't the entertainment industry. It's not Snoop Dogg. He's not Ray Lewis. Very few are. By the way, Ray Lewis had a great barbecue place that I would go to every once in a while.
Well, you know what? I would disagree with you. This is the entertainment industry.
Okay, well, fair. Okay, I should have known you were going to say that. It is the entertainment industry. I don't know. I don't think he gets life. This, it's just tougher when you throw around. There's such ridiculous stipulations and things that come up in conversation and the way perception and all that stuff works. But you throw around armed robbery, not great. And then you add in the term kidnapping.
Yeah, that seems to be a deal breaker.
That's a tough one to get over. I think you can get over armed robbery. I think you can. And you shouldn't be able to, but in the current state of things with athletes, lawyers, attorneys, yada, yada, I think you can maybe get past that. You add in, and not that they're on the same level, but there's just something about the ring to kidnap and murder where you're like, I don't know that I can get past that one.
It's like arsonist. Whenever I hear somebody has been convicted of arson, I'm just like, ooh, That kind of, gives you a little bit of a shiver. You hear murderer, convicted of manslaughter. It's like, okay, yeah, I get that. But there's certain crimes, and you're absolutely right, kidnapping being one of those, where it's like, oof. because to me, that's more of like an active participant. I know that we've seen movies and heard stories in the past of, somebody just standing there and their buddies are like, yeah, tie them up, throw them in the trunk of the car. And the person going, what are you guys doing? Shut up, man. Just get in the car.
Yeah. Right.
So those are sort of the kind of the images that you can conjure up. But also it's like, hey, man, grab the legs. And then, you reach down and grab the legs. And now you're a part of it, throwing this person in the trunk of the car.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, like, I think you can be charged with kidnapping for, like, not letting someone leave, like, basically holding someone against their will. So, like, this, not to condone it, but it could be like a domestic situation,
right,
where he pulled a gun on his baby mama or something. It's like, get in the car, or, like, get out of the car and get back in the house.
Right.
Something like that, as opposed to, like, running up behind someone in an alley and putting a burlap sack over their head and throwing them in the trunk of a car. And like,
right, but they're both
but it doesn't sound good. No.
Yeah,
right. That gives me a thought too. But keep going, Tom, and then I know you've got a thought.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, they're both violent acts. It's just, right, one is more physical than the other one. It's still a violent act to pull a gun on somebody and say, get into the car, because you're forcibly doing something without putting your hands on them. So
I'm gonna describe that exact situation in a second. Okay, what are you gonna say?
I was just going to say, it's an unfortunate, another unfortunate situation of a young star throwing away generational wealth, for whatever reason. But unfortunately, this is kind of my guilty pleasure is, kind of keeping up with this high profile crime stuff. I love the entertainment of it, watching this kind of stuff. So I've already started to look into this. It really is not looking good for him. Apparently it's over like $250,000 that was stolen out of his Airbnb. That was at his house. So it looks like it's all tied to him. It doesn't look good. It's all alleged, of course, but man.
Yeah.
Zach, if you want to look into a good crime case, look at the Snoop Dogg's murder case. Oh, wait, you can't. It's been sealed for some reason. I wonder why.
So I was telling you the other day, Tom, you've got a homework project coming up here in the coming days.
Does it involve yarn and index cards?
No, I mean, unless you really get into the story, it doesn't need to. But I'm almost done with Shafi's story, which is probably going to be called something different. And hopefully the Taliban and Al-Qaeda aren't watching this show and tying the connecting the dots. But I'm struggling with a chapter where I do just what Nate described after surveilling a guy, and we didn't get what we wanted out of it. So a door was flung open, and him and his son, maybe 12 years old, were thrust into the car at gunpoint. We got some great info out of it. We took down an entire cell. But I got done with it. It's a great chapter. It reads well. It's legit. It's like, I don't know if I can actually put this in the book. I think this one could get me could get me in a little bit of trouble. I don't know if the interpretation is, post whatever.
Well, yeah, it's got to be a statute of limitations, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. What say my legal counsel, the audience, and the crew? I don't know. We'll see.
Well, just call them a Patriot Act. That's a blanket for anything, right?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. With this story, there are parts of it where I was not there with Shafi, right? We're separated. So parts of it are made up. Parts of it are made up. Parts of it are fiction. Hey, they're not fiction. I've got the
court, right?
Yeah, that's right. I don't know. Tom, I'm going to let you read it as is, and then you give me you and your ascot. You give me your
right. Well, the thing is, I do not trust the government whatsoever, and I know that there's a process in getting books like this published. So, what would fly in 2026? Who knows? It would fly in 2028, 2020, or 2030.
Right. Yeah, I'm going to try and get to because I've got to go through that process. I'm going to try and get to I'm putting this out there now if he watches. I'm going to try and get to Director Ratcliffe and just be like, you just need to tell people to push this shit through. Like, just like, it'll be a great movie. It'll be a great recruiting tool for the agency, even though everything's done wrong in it. But like, go ahead and push it through. And then when this book comes out, by the way, people in the audience, I need you to not just buy a copy. I need you to buy like 10 and distribute it to friends. We're going to take this shit to the top. Like,
are you going to be offering signed copies with you and Shafi?
Yeah.
All right.
Whatever his name is in the book. Yeah, we haven't decided.
Oh, that's right. Gino.
Yes.
Make him Italian.
Hey, Drew. It was the strangest thing that my interpreter was Italian.
Who spoke Pashto in English. He was from the quiet little town fishing village in Sicily.
Okay, we got a late start. Let's try and get some memes in. I don't remember even what any of them are. Real quick, though, before we go to That's Meme-tastic, this weekend, you obviously got the World Cup game tonight. You've got at 10 p.m. with the U.S. World Cup game, that is. You've got the Travelers Championship starting this weekend. More World Cup games this weekend. There's still some good stuff going on. Obviously, MLB's going. So enjoy all of that. We'll talk about it on Tuesday. But for now, let's do some memes.
That's meme-tastic.
That's meme-tastic.
We should do that one more time.
Speaking of Shafi, there he is. Handsome son of a bitch. Okay, we've got
in studio.
He's not in studio, but I'm just saying he was. He's in the voiceover there.
Okay.
So
well, tell him I said hello.
I will. We were texting today. We were going over his, an egress map. I was map tracking
out
again
of your
today.
Own house or is...
No, for the story, but I was,
okay.
I'm like having to map track. I'm like, remind me of this again because I'm tightening up this chapter, and I'm of course asking a question in traditional Afghan, lore. It's like gives me an answer that's not useful whatsoever. It's like, no. Okay, so from here you headed north, and it's like. I can't even give an example of the answers that I would get. Like, no, I didn't eat rice that day. Like, Did you go north or did you go west? Did you go to this part of town or that part of town? He knows better because he's worked with me. And there was a lot of tense conversations. Is tense a word? I don't think so. Tense conversations between us with people. It all worked well.
I just want to interject real
Okay.
quick because for people who don't understand what Drew's trying to articulate, it was kind of spot on. The story that I always tell people when I talk about, trying to communicate with Afghans, and Shafi nailed it perfectly. Drew had helped Shafi buy a new car. We're all at the studio waiting for Shafi to show up in his new car. Shafi shows up. I'm like, hey, Shafi, how you doing? I am good, sir. Shafi, I hear you got a new car. Let's see it. And Shafi goes, oh, I don't have it with me. And Drew's like, what? Why? He goes, oh, because I don't have a cell phone holder for my cell phone for the car. So I Ubered. So that it was, you have somebody like Shafi who, has done a lot of things with Drew and other, Americans. But it's that one little critical thing that kind of throws everything into a different direction that you totally don't expect.
Yeah.
And that is a prime example of, where the miscommunication just sort of breaks down. It makes total sense, but it doesn't all at the same time. And that's the beauty of it.
It's maddening. I mean, I did this for so long. So much of my life was that way. To the point where, I literally at the end, I was talking like Afghans on the phone, like yelling like this. What did he say? The golly. Thank you for that interjection because that was a great story. Where's your car? Where's the car I bought you? I took an Uber. Okay. All right. We're off to a great start. This is great. I'm glad that my wife and I did this. First meme. Here's the first meme. Obviously, there's people still complaining, bitching about the UFC fight at the White House. We've all talked about how it's badass. Don't care if you like President Trump. Don't care if you don't. I just don't care. It was badass. And it says if you weren't bitching about this when they had the big the big gay orgy at the White House under the previous administration, then please stop bitching about this happening at the White House, and it shows the UFC thing. Just stop bitching in general. Like, how about that? Like, there's a concept for you. Maybe just stop whining about everything. Karen and Chad and whatever the names are. I don't know anymore. But that thing was terrible. That was terrible. Remember, there was dudes about blew my knee out. There's dudes with freaking breasts out on the White House lawn. Like that, I think we can handle a UFC fight. Okay, we've got a feminist up top. Feminist, I use my mom's last name instead of my father's. Some dude in a bow tie responds below, you mean your grandfather's last name? Touche. It is a good point. There's a lot of people like, I'm not taking my husband's name. It's like, you dumb bitch. Like, that's your grandfather's name. Like, his grandfather died of dysentery on the Oregon Trail, and you're like, stop it. Like, that's just... that was pretty good. I thought it was pretty good. Tom, you'll definitely appreciate this. We got a young tot, blonde-haired, blue-eyed, I assume, drinking a Coors Banquet beer. Generation X, 1965 to 1980. The last generation before all the pussies were born.
You know, I see this one pop up quite a bit. It being a Gen Xer, as you are, Drew. There's a couple of things. I don't think
tail end of it.
You know, just like real like tough guy and these kids, you know, this generation doesn't know any better. It's the fact is we just didn't have the technology that they have now, and that forced us to be a lot more resourceful. It caused you to use the creative part of your mind. And so to me, it's not really the fault of the younger generations because we were forced into being resourceful. Whereas I'm not saying that younger generations aren't resourceful, but they're not as resourceful. Resourcefulness comes from being able to grow up at a time where you had to problem solve on the fly.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's just no way to compare the generations. You know, Gen Z is doing better than the millennials, but like you put either of them in the Gen X category or beyond, and like throw them into the day in the life of like they'd be like, what? And by the way, you'd love it. Like there's so much freedom in having to figure it out all on your own. Like it's freaking amazing. It was so good. I have no idea how to describe this. I keep seeing these. Is fruit plural without an S, right? Fruits?
Wow.
I don't know. Yeah. No one knows.
Those ones on top look a couple more weeks, and those would be Nat Geo style.
Right. I mean, alive looking in Liberia. Yeah, I don't know, but I keep seeing those everywhere, and those. I mean, that fruit. Like, I mean, if you do you suck on the fruit? Like, what do you do with it? That's a weird. It's a weird fruit. Drew,
I think you throw a few ones at them and they roam them in your face.
All of a sudden, you're motorboating.
Nate and I have a friend who he had a Tinder date once, and he was going to make dinner, and for some reason he took a Viagra before he bought food. So he took a Viagra, goes to the grocery store, and touches a watermelon, and then has to leave the grocery store. I can't imagine if he took a Viagra and that was in the produce.
Oh my God, you're toast. You're toast. He's been sitting here for over 4 hours. Just. That's amazing. That's freaking awesome. I don't know. I don't remember. Tom, you probably know who this is, but there's a chick interviewing. It looks like it's Between Two Ferns with Zach Galifianakis. It's not. It's some liberal chick up top. You don't think it's strange that we have a trillionaire in this country? She's asking to Sydney Sweeney, who then just gives her a smirk. I think it's strange politicians become millionaires on $174K per year. That's the kind of thing Sydney Sweeney would say. We love you, Sydney Sweeney. You are always welcome on the set here.
The Queen of the Downs.
Queen of the Downs. This isn't really funny, but like Yaxel Lendenborg came up early. It is funny because it just is. It's just sports rivalries and college rivalries. But Yaxel Lendenborg was asked after being drafted by the Golden State Warriors if Draymond Green said he would have number 23 on the Warriors, if he could have number 23 on the Warriors, if he rocked Michigan State gear the entire season. Yaxel Lendenborg said, quote, "I'm not going to do that, man. I hate those guys. I went 2-0 against them this year. They're always going to be little brother forever, and I'm not going to represent the losers ever." I love, in this day and age, especially at the college basketball level, but football too, you come in and you're plopped into Ann Arbor and you're taught the rivalries. We hate, Michigan State, Ohio State, Notre Dame, whoever. And it could be whatever your school is. I'm just using it as the example because that's where he played. I love that they get all into it, and why wouldn't you at a great school like that with the traditions and rivalries? I love, though, that he's totally bought in, like, I'm going to always call them little brother and treat them like the little bitches that they are. I think that's great. You're an NBA guy now. You're supposed to care about PR. He's like, no, little brother, suck a D. Like, you're always going to be my little bitch. Like, I thought it was great.
I think it's great, too, to see a rivalry like that jump from the collegiate level to the pro level. I think it's fantastic. What I think is even more fantastic is Lindenborg's mom. I got to see her during draft night, and I have a weird obsession with really tall women, and she is one of the tallest women. Nate and I were in the office, and his draft pick came on, and Lisa Salters sat down with he and his mom, and his mom is massive, just a very, very tall woman. I think part of my obsession with tall women is the fact that I feel like they could scoop me up like a football and run away with me. And she ticked off all those boxes for me.
So to be clear, you're hot and heavy for Yaxel's mom, who is a large African-American woman with cancer. That's an interesting niche that you've got.
I'm just saying she's a very attractive woman. And whenever you see, like, the parents, at draft night and this and that and everything, you can kind of see where, a lot of the athletes get their DNA from. And from her, I was like, Nate, look how large this woman is, because they didn't show her standing, but you could just tell by the size of her, even 100%. Though she was closer to camera, that she was just, Salters. Yeah, Salters looked like a Lilliputian, and Yaxel looked kind of small, even though she was closer to camera, but you could tell that, she's a tall woman. No, even in the chair, she was a sizable, in a nice way, ladies, a sizable woman. She's big. Speaking of sizes or amounts, I don't know how to transition to this. It's not that hard to understand, says one person. One beer, it shows 2 beers. A couple beers is 4, and a few beers is whatever that number is, a decent amount. I think that's an accurate description, though, too. Like, if someone asks, like, did you have a few beers? Like, I'm not actually thinking 3.
No.
And that remains true for, whatever you're having or consuming, too. Like, I've had a few drinks. Can you define a few? Well, I mean, do you want to do that? Like, do we really want to do this? A few means 9, all right? It means 9. Shut up.
I say a few is, it's just more than 5. Just
right.
Whatever that number is, it's a few.
Yeah, and it's if you could go between 5 and above, but under 12, it's like you're not going to have that feeling the next day of absolutely hating yourself and trying to think of a reason not to, to not stay in bed and perhaps get into the doldrums of wanting to reach over to that loaded revolver in the nightstand.
Oh dear, that just got so dark. It's so dark. Let's just say don't consider a few more than a case, then you're good. And then you're good. Like especially if it's beer. Beer's essentially LaCroix.
If you want to put it that way, I guess, yeah, that's probably better.
Okay, we've got some, obviously there's a lot of change going on in New York. Babylon Bee has projected new winners in the primary there. Al-Qaeda has won the New York primary. Good for them, I guess. I don't know. I mean, we started sharing info with the Taliban at the end of the war, so maybe we're on that side too. We were, actually, to be clear. I know that.
They have their own airline now.
Yes, they do. Just look to Syria, where the former leader of al-Nusra Front / Al-Qaeda is the president of a country that owns its own airline. I promise you it won't ever come back to bite us. There's no way that would happen. Okay, speaking of New York, did you guys see this before you put it up, Matthew? There's the parade, and there's, you got lots of interesting people there. We talked about the Tyler Kolek kid, who we didn't even know, who played 62 games for them the other day, gets stopped by the police, which was amazing. But then they showed this really
yeah, go ahead.
large woman who's doesn't have the most attractive frame. You know when you've got all the weight below the belt Like, some people are just damned with that. Like, everyone, once they get north of 40, gravity starts kicking your ass. It's harder. But some people start with it below the belt. And I honestly do feel for them. It's like, I don't know what you do there. Like, is there a big surrender? Like, I don't know what you do. But this chick, we don't have the video, but if you go watch the video,
It's hilarious.
She's got a tough life ahead. Like, she got a tough life now. I don't know how she fits through a door, but she takes and dumps out a trash can full of shit that is blue and orange for the sake of the parade. She's since been fired for her job. Anyways, going back and tying in the 80s and all these things here, we're tying in all this shit together. There was this thing called the Garbage Pail Kids, and you'd get these cards, and they were all kind of like grotesque and nasty, but like you still did it. You'd watch G.I. Joe, you'd collect, Garbage Pail Kids, you'd do all this stuff, you'd blow up G.I. Joe figures with, firecrackers, throw rocks through cars' windows that are driving by, do all the stuff. We all did that, right? And then you see the Garbage Pail Kid for the fat New York chick, and her name is Out of Work Angie, who honestly looks a lot better in the Garbage Pail card here than she does in real life. Sorry, Angie, if that's really your name. But you've got to, you should probably look into some of those pills or shots. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of them, but I think that maybe it's the right time. That makes us mean. That makes me mean. The guys didn't say it. I did.
Did you see the other lady from the parade that was on top of the light pole? She was trying to get down, and the other girl tried to kick her away. And she ended up just pulling her off the light pole and just beating the crap out of her.
Huh. The things that happen in New York.
Yeah, she snatched her right off the light pole and dumped her on her butt, and then after she was done twerking.
I forgot that part.
Yeah, she whooped her up. That's what that was over. She wouldn't let her get off the light post, so she kicked her, and she just went crazy.
Yeah, it was something she was like, the girl that was sitting on the post was pushing the other girl's legs off, trying to get down.
I think that we went, there's a day that Tom's back in studio, we get Nate down here. We get some other people involved, or we don't, whatever. We'll go over to Studio B, and we'll put a New York backdrop on it behind us, like a dumpster, literally on fire, people rioting and doing stuff. And we'll have a twerking contest.
Oh.
It's a balls and banter twerking contest, and we'll just all be twerking in front of chaos.
Episode 1 of the City Hicks. We'll all be stereotypes from New York City.
Yes. Okay. Perfect. We've got this is a graphic of the World Cup teams that are eliminated: Haiti, Turkey, Tunisia, Jordan, Panama. Also, the New York Jets eliminated in the group stage. Didn't even make it to the right sport or the right season. They're just out because they're terrible. Speaking of New York, also, just tough to be a Jets fan. I don't know if it's worse to be a Jets fan or to be Angie, that large chick who just lost her job for dumping a thing and eating too many burritos. I don't know. It's tough. Let's skip.
Smith's already in trouble. Did you see this?
Yeah. We ran an article on Air It Out Bro. Geno Smith not looking good. What? Let's see what the title we ran with on that. People just can't keep their shit together.
Something about being on the Jets. He seems to get himself in trouble. He went how many years on how many teams and was kind of Geno, he's a good teammate, is this? And now 2 months back at the Jets, and he's assaulting his baby mama.
Geno Smith under police investigation after battery allegation. At least he kept the kidnapping off. He, not supporting what he did. Yeah. Okay, Tom, you'll also relate to this. This is not funny. This is just true. A typical ladies' weekend. We got a Pizza Hut box. We got a wood-paneled wall with a tube TV. 3 different bags of Doritos, Mountain Dew, Pepsi. I would go Coke, but you could go. If you're going Pepsi, you're going to go Mountain Dew and Pepsi. 2 Nintendo games, Super Mario Brothers 3. I can't see what the other one is, and then the old school Nintendo. We all loved that. If you didn't love that, you're not welcome.
The other one's the OG Mario Duck Hunt, both on the same.
Oh, the combo pack, and then you had the Duck Hunt gun that came with it. Hell yeah, We need to do that in the studio too. Like we need to have some old school Nintendos and just rock it.
Zach, I'm very sorry you didn't get to experience the absolute joy, the ecstasy of being a kid in a grocery store in the Doritos bag having the window so you could look at the chips individually to see which bag of Doritos was lucky enough to be selected to put in mom's shopping cart.
Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't know that was a thing.
Classic.
All those foods are owned by Yum Brands too. Proud stockholder here.
Are you? There we go.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, they got it all. They got Pizza Hut, Mountain Dew, Taco Bell, KFC, Long John Silver's if you're a fan.
I mean,
Yeah. It was. If you ever need
Real quick, Nate and I always say this because of my ADD. I just go off in different directions. But speaking of Long John Silver's, Nate and I had a friend who loved Long John Silver's, but he liked those little crispy little nuggets